Hello guys, welcome to the current video. In this video, we're going to learn about Elastic Compute Cloud, or you can say that EC2. So the first question that would come into your mind is, what is EC2? So EC2 is basically a virtual server on the cloud. Now, the next thing is, what are the different types of servers? So we have two basic types of servers, that is physical and virtual. Now, consider a scenario. We have a company, right? And say I want to set up a website. I want to set up a web application. So what happens in a case where I want to have a physical server? I need to plan the user base. I need to know that what is my user base, and then I need to purchase the hardware accordingly. And the cheapest server costs you around $1,500. So that is the cost that you need to pay. Then the next thing is, apart from this purchasing of hardware, you need to pay for a lot of things. For example, you need to pay for the initial setup, you need to pay for the people who will be maintaining this machine. So ultimately you end up paying a lot of money. But in case of virtual server, what happens? In virtual servers, we have all the major perks of having say physical server, and we have a very low cost. It is very low in cost, that everything is on cloud and no hardware purchase required. So this means that if we are working on a virtual machine, all the things that we do on a physical server would be done on a virtual server. Now EC2 provides us the flexibility of performing all the actions that we do on a physical server can be done on a virtual server as well. But the thing is that we have not we have just to decide what all are our requirements. Say physical server is costing us around $1,500 for hardware, and we need to set it up. It takes around 30 to 40, say 15 to 20 days, not 30 to 40, 15 to 20 days. It takes up time, and this is the cheapest one for say covering up around 50 to 60 users, right? So we can call it say 50 to 60 users, sorry, 100 users is fine. It depends on the application you're deploying. Now the thing is that this is just a basic thing. This is just a basic say hardware. Now what if in future your user base increases from 100 users a month, say a week or a day, to say it increases to 1 lakh users per day, or say 10,000 users per day. Then what will you do? You'll go out and you'll again find a hardware, and then you'll be maintaining this thing. And apart from this, you need to pay for the Ethernet as well. Internet leased line. This is something that you have to pay separately apart from the server you're setting up. So now, what if you do this everything on the cloud and you end up paying less? How? EC2 is a service that allows you to have the virtual servers, and they are immediately ready to use. So it just takes around 5 minutes for the run. Nothing more. It just takes around 5 to 10 minutes. That is the maximum time it takes for it to run for it to run for the first time. Then there are few configurations that may take around 20 to 30 minutes, and then you're ready to go. Now, in case if you are upgrading a server, you got to know that you will be having a lot of users coming up in your application, and you would want to handle those users. You can ramp up that particular say instance. For example, right now your say virtual server, your server is capable of having say 100 users. You can migrate to a better server, say up to 10,000 users, in and around 1 hour. You just need to migrate your data, nothing else. You just need to migrate your settings, nothing else. You can say host an application for 1,000 users, or maybe in future you would want to have say 1 lakh users. In that case as well, you will be able to handle such kind of a load. So how would you be able to do that? EC2 provides you that flexibility, and the benefit is that it is so very low cost. So if we see this pricing, you can see that here we get billed on per second basis, or say per hour basis, to be specific. We get billed on per hour basis. The minimum pricing is for per hour, and the pricing is very simple. It depends on location to location where you want to have your server. For example, you are in India, your client base is in Australia. So why would you be having a server in India? You should set up a server in Australia for the lower latency and for the better deliverability of your content. So in this case, you can use AWS Amazon EC2 to do that. And for the very basic thing, whenever you have a very small basic requirement, you just want to serve up to 50 to 100 users, you can even go for the first year free in EC2 as well. So here there are different types of instances, and you can decide on the requirement, what kind of requirement you have. We have general purpose, which is for the normal usage, and there are different types of instances here. We basically use T2 and T3. These are the, say, normal usage instances where we have everything as balanced. Next thing is compute optimized, whenever you have, say, a server application which requires a lot of processing. So we use compute optimized, we have memory optimized instances, we have accelerated computing instances where we have graphics card installed as well. We have storage optimized instances. So there are different types of instances that we can use, right? The basic thing here is, the basic idea is, you just jot down your requirement and you start using it. Are very low, and you can see that it depends on your requirement. For example, T2 micro is free to use. So T2 micro provides you few things. First thing is virtual CPU. You get one virtual CPU which is capable of bearing load for 50 users per hour. Then CPU credits per hour, you get 6 CPU credits per hour. That is, say, you can ignore it for a while. Next thing is memory. You get 1 GB RAM here. So this is ideal for a very basic CPU, a very basic application server. But what happens when you start getting more users? In that case, you can ramp up your things to this particular as well, or say you can ramp up to your server to this particular level as well, where you will be getting 16 GB RAM and 4 vCPUs. So you have that flexibility, you have the storage, you have that data with you. You don't even need to worry about the data loss. It will just take few minutes to migrate your server from one to another, and you don't have to, say, go out again and buy the hardware again. Because suppose you bought a server 3 years back, that hardware is out of market now. Now you needed to, say, ramp up the performance. You went to the market and you asked for CPU. The CPU is not compatible with motherboard. Here, in this case, you don't have to worry about all those things. There is no overhead cost. There is something that is, you pay for what you use, nothing else, and that is completely per hour basis. So you end up paying very lesser amount for the things that you're using. Maybe you won't even use the server that, say, that you purchased around 3 years back. But here, you know that your income, it's a requirement is increasing, you can ramp up the thing. You know that your requirement is decreasing, you can ramp down the things here, right? You can choose the things that you would want to use. So this is how AWS EC2 stands helpful in lot of cases. This is the only reason why companies and organizations are migrating to AWS rather than putting on money on their own hardware. That is the reason why Netflix switched from their own servers to AWS long back, right? So this was this video. Thank you.